See what you did? You got the word in tizzy. Everybody want to dick ride Kendrick Lamar now, right? That's kind of crazy. Hey man, they just asked me to hop on the song and I did that. Simple as that. Motherfuck the big three. It's just big meat, nigga bum. And what about it? That's implying that you're the best, which is bullshit because I'm the best. I got way more hits than you. Right. Because your light skin anthems are so catchy till you gotta actually spit. You think I can't rap for real?
Nobody expected Kendrick Lamar to swing these hard. Not the fans, not the industry, not even the people who spent the last decade studying every subtle diss, every subliminal line, every crack in the armor between two of the biggest rappers on the planet. But when 6me16 in LA dropped, it wasn't just a diss track, it wasn't just lyrical warfare, it wasn't even Kendrick trying to prove anything, it was a warning aimed at one person, a warning written in code, a warning wrapped in calm delivery, surgical bars, and a level of confidence that comes from knowing something the other side never expected to be exposed. Because while the internet was busy arguing about flows, beats, and metaphor, Kendrick wasn't attacking Drake, he was attacking OVO. More specifically, someone inside OVO, someone close to Drake. Someone with rank, someone with access, someone who knew everything happening behind the scenes, someone who wasn't loyal anymore, someone who snitched. And the moment the world caught on to the real meaning behind that 6-16 in LA timestamp, the temperature of the entire rap industry shifted. The air got heavier, the tension got sharper. People inside the business started making phone calls. Suddenly, old interviews, old tweets, old friendships started to look like clues instead of coincidences, because what Kendrick said wasn't metaphorical. He meant every single word. Somebody living in your house, betraying your trust, and you won't even pick up the signs. At first, fans thought it was bars, they thought it was entertainment, they thought it was hype, until insiders began whispering that Kendrick wasn't speaking poetically. He was speaking literally. There was someone in Drake's camp, in his home, in his circle, around his children, in his studio, at his table, feeding information directly to Kendrick's team. And the craziest part, this wasn't new. This wasn't recent. This wasn't a last-minute betrayal. This leak had been happening for years. The kind of leak that exposes tour dates, personal moves, relationship trouble, studio sessions, NDA-protected conversations, unreleased collaborations, everything. And Kendrick waited. He waited until the right moment, the right beat, the right tension, the right global audience, the right emotional temperature, the right pressure point. Then he dropped the bomb. 616 in LA wasn't a diss. It was a public announcement, a declaration, and Drake wasn't prepared for it because instantly, the internet went to work. Fans started analyzing 6:16 a.m. June 16th, a Bible verse, a timestamp, a secret location, a security code, a date that meant something inside OVO. Then someone discovered the real meaning. 6:16 wasn't a message from Kendrick, it was a message from the snitch. The exact time the insider reached out, the exact minute the betrayal began, the exact timestamp when the OVO mole made contact with Top Dog's camp. And here's where the story gets terrifying. Industry people confirmed that around 6 a.m. in LA, one of Drake's closest associates made a private call he shouldn't have made, a call Drake never found out about, a call that happened after a heated internal argument at OVO, a call that changed the entire trajectory of the beef. 6:16 in LA wasn't a song, it was a timestamp of treason. But here's what the public didn't know. This wasn't money-related, this wasn't clout-related, this wasn't industry politics. This was personal. Someone in OVO hated what Drake had become, someone who watched him burn bridges, someone who watched him alienate people, someone who watched him poison every relationship, someone who watched the ego consume him, someone who watched him lose trust in his team, someone who watched him spiral deeper into paranoia, someone who watched him choose the wrong friends, cut loyal ones off, and drown himself in the spotlight. And the mole, the snitch, they weren't acting out of spite, they were acting out of revenge. And if Kendrick found out that easily, if Kendrick got inside OVO without breaking a sweat, if Kendrick received years of info without Drake noticing, then Drake wasn't in control of his circle. His circle was in control of him. But here's where the hook gets even crazier. Right after the track dropped, OVO members began panicking, muting group chats, deleting old messages, turning off phones, unfollowing people, blocking numbers, trying to find the leak. And Drake didn't respond immediately, not because he didn't want to, but because he couldn't. He was blindsided. Because if Kendrick's bars were true, if someone in his own home was leaking information, then Drake couldn't respond until he figured out who the mole was. But Kendrick didn't give him time. He came for his structure, his foundation, his team, his home. You got a Judas in your circle, and you still buying him dinner. When that bar hit, the entire industry gasped, because no rapper had ever said something so dangerous, so exposing, so personal. Not even in the height of the Drake versus Pusha T era. This wasn't battle rap, this was psychological warfare, and Kendrick's message was clear. Someone close to you loves you, but hates the man you've become. Then came the most alarming line. I know what he told me and you don't. That line broke the internet. Because Kendrick wasn't guessing, he wasn't theorizing, he was confirming the existence of a snitch. He knew exactly what the mole said. He knew exactly what secrets were leaked. He knew exactly how deep the betrayal went, and he knew exactly that Drake had no idea who it was. People inside the industry immediately started whispering, it's someone Drake trusts. It's someone he lets in his house. It's someone who sees him off camera. It's someone with access to his personal stress. It's someone who knows things not even his friends know. And then the theories exploded. Some said it was a producer. Some said it was an engineer. Some said it was an old friend. Some said it was a longtime OVO employee. Some said it was someone Drake couldn't cut off, even if he wanted to. But one theory rose above the rest. One name started trending. One possibility so insane, so wild, so shocking. It shook the entire conversation. The snitch wasn't a friend, it was family. Someone with access, someone with proximity, someone who saw everything, someone who heard everything, someone who felt ignored, overlooked, betrayed by fame, someone with a grudge. And Kendrick exploited it, because the real meaning of 616 in LA wasn't just betrayal, it was promise. A promise that Kendrick knows something Drake doesn't, a promise that Kendrick has recordings, messages, documents, proof, a promise that the mole gave him enough ammunition to destroy Drake without ever mentioning his name. But this isn't even the darkest part, because the mole didn't only leak information, he leaked something else, something worse, something bigger, something that could end careers, something Kendrick hinted at subtly, calmly, when he said, I know what you're hiding behind those walls. The industry froze, because that meant only one thing. The mole didn't snitch out of anger. He snitched out of fear. Fear of something happening inside OVO. Fear of something Drake was planning. Fear of something he wanted no part of. Which leads to the biggest question of all. What did Drake's own man tell Kendrick? And why did Kendrick choose now to expose it? Because if the mole risked everything, a career, a friendship, loyalty, safety, just to reveal a secret, then the secret must be darker than anyone imagined. And this is where the real story begins. Before 616 in LA became the most dangerous timestamp in rap history, before millions of fans became detectives overnight, before insiders whispered that Kendrick Lamar had infiltrated OVO from the inside, before alliances began collapsing and before accusations turned into investigations, there was a story, a long, quiet, hidden story that the public never saw. A story that shows exactly why Drake's camp was the perfect place for betrayal to grow. To understand why Kendrick's track hit so hard, why the bars cut so deep, and why one man inside OVO would risk everything to snitch, you have to go back years, back to the fractures, back to the tension, back to the moment OVO stopped being a family and became a battlefield, a silent, guarded, fragile, and toxic. Because the truth is simple, OVO wasn't always a team. It wasn't always loyal. It wasn't always the sleek, unified empire fans believed it was. Behind the scenes, it was a kingdom built on pressure, paranoia, and silent resentment, and where one man at the top had all the power and everyone beneath him had learned to smile through their anger. At the center was Drake, the superstar, the golden child, the empire, the brand, the man whose shadow grew so large that everyone around him began disappearing into it. But even the most powerful man can be blindsided when he forgets one thing. The people closest to you are the people who can hurt you the most. And inside OVO, that pain had been growing for years, quietly, silently, behind staged smiles and curated photos. By the time Kendrick dropped 616 in LA, the betrayal was already complete. The first crack appeared years earlier, when Drake's rise to superstardom forced him to tighten his circle. No more outsiders, no new faces, no questionable loyalty. But what he didn't realize, he wasn't tightening the circle. He was trapping the resentment inside it. Producers who felt underpaid, writers who felt overshadowed, security who knew too much, old friends who felt replaced, new ones who evolved into opportunists, engineers who cleaned up problems off record, and managers who began acting more like handlers. The tension wasn't loud, it wasn't messy, it wasn't public. It lived in the small things. A side eye during a studio session, a heated, whispered argument backstage, a passive-aggressive comment after a show, a missing payment, a quiet demotion, a growing silence between old friends, and every time Drake switched sides in a beef, every time he cut someone off, every time he made a move without warning, the resentment inside OVO grew stronger. But the boiling point came when Drake stopped trusting anyone. He began isolating himself. Separate studios, separate engineers, separate hotel floors, separate rooms, separate conversations. He believed this protected him, but in reality, it created the perfect environment for betrayal, because when you lock people out, they find a way back in, and that's when the mole began forming. At first, the snitch didn't plan to betray him. He didn't wake up one day choosing to leak secrets to Kendrick Lamar. It started as frustration. Then frustration became resentment. Resentment became bitterness. Bitterness became anger. And anger matured into an agenda. This OVO member watched Drake isolate himself while expecting loyalty. He watched Drake cut off long-term friends without explanation. He watched Drake turn business into personal ego wars. He watched Drake burn bridges and blame everyone but himself. And the mole reached a point where he thought, you built this whole thing on my sweat, and now I'm nothing but a shadow in your empire. But betrayal doesn't happen because of one emotion. It happens when many emotions collide. Jealousy, injustice, humiliation, neglect, fear, greed, opportunity, revenge. And inside OVO, All of those emotions were present, but the real turning point came during a night the public never knew happened, a night that insiders still whisper about, a night that happened in Los Angeles at 6:16 a.m., the exact time Kendrick named the song after. This night, and recorded in whispers, retold in fragments, is the moment OVO's loyalty died. Drake had gotten into an explosive argument with a high-ranking member of his team, the man fans now believe is the Mole. The argument was about control, about credit, about respect, about decisions Drake made behind everyone's backs, about money that didn't add up, about plans Drake approved without consulting anyone, about pressure, about betrayal that went both ways. Drake allegedly said, "I don't need any of you, I built this myself." And the man answered, "You built this on us, and now you can't survive without us." Security had to step in, managers had to intervene, people left the room angry. Drake walked out alone, but the Mole, he didn't leave, he stayed, he sat there thinking, breathing, processing every wound he'd collected over the years, and at 6:16 in LA, shaking, exhausted, angry, done, he made the call, not to a friend, not to a blogger, not to a rival producer. He called someone connected to Pigling. He called someone connected to Kendrick. He broke the unspoken law of OVO. Never betray the family. But the Mole was done being loyal to a family that treated him like a disposable worker. He didn't leak anything crazy at first, just frustrations, industry whispers, little pieces of information that didn't seem meaningful, but then he started sharing more. And more. And more. Unreleased lines, future moves, personal drama, legal concerns, emotional vulnerabilities, studio beef, abandoned collaborations, internal arguments, Drake's state of mind, his insecurities, his fear of being replaced, his obsession with relevance. And Kendrick, he didn't rush, he didn't panic, he didn't expose everything at once. He waited until the tension between them was global, waited until Drake was the most reactive he'd ever been, waited until the entire world was watching. Then he crafted 6:16 in LA like a weapon, a bomb disguised as a poem, a threat disguised as calm delivery, a revelation disguised as metaphor. Because Kendrick wasn't warning Drake, he was warning the Mole. I got your message, I got your information, I got your details, I got your story, and I got them because someone you trust trusts me more. The fans didn't understand that bar at first, but insiders did. And Drake definitely did. And when he realized what Kendrick meant, he panicked. Because suddenly, Kendrick had the one thing Drake never wanted anyone to have. Access, but the darkest part. Kendrick's team didn't reach out to the Mole reached out to them, which means the betrayal didn't come from weakness, it came from voluntary revenge. And that brings us to the question everyone on the internet is now asking, who is the Mole? Who is the OVO betrayer? Drake's engineer, his producer, his childhood friend, his right-hand man, someone in his family, someone in his business team, or the craziest theory of all, someone still living in his house? The answer isn't clear. But Kendrick's song left one clue. It's the one you feed the most who bites you hardest. And Drake fed many people, but he trusted very few. The betrayal came from the one person he never suspected. And Kendrick waited for the moment where exposing it would hurt the most, which means the Mole isn't done, the Mole has more, and Kendrick has it all. Before Kendrick ever said a word publicly, before 6:16 in LA shook the industry, before fans realized the diss wasn't random, there was a quiet storm brewing deep inside OVO, the kind no one could see, no one could hear, no one could predict. It started small, a missing file, a leaked snippet, a producer claiming he never got credit for a hook, a writer whispering that he was owed royalties, an engineer complaining about being replaced with someone more loyal. People inside OVO didn't think much of it at first. Every big camp has problems. But the strange thing was the leaks were getting smarter, more strategic, more precise, more damaging, more personal. At first they exposed little annoyances, nothing big, but then the leaks started targeting Drake personally. Messages he thought no one would see. Conversations he believed were private. Plans for albums that mysteriously appeared on blogs, dating, rumors that only 5 people knew about, arguments inside the studio, recounted word for word online. Every time Drake thought he plugged the hole, another leak appeared somewhere else. OVO became a submarine, sinking from the inside, taking in water, one betrayal at a time. And someone was watching it drown. The more Drake tried to control his circle, the more he pushed people away, the more resentment he created. The more resentment he created, the more leverage the mole gained. And the mole waited patiently, building a file. A file filled with secrets that could ruin careers, reputations, friendships, and the public image Drake spent years polishing. Then something happened that changed everything. Drake got paranoid. He started blaming the wrong people, people who were innocent, people who weren't leaking anything, people who were loyal, but paranoia does what paranoia always does. It creates its own enemy. Drake cut off a close friend over an accusation he couldn't prove. He stopped inviting a long-time producer to sessions. He blocked someone who'd been with him since Take Care. He fired a private assistant for sharing too much. And when he shut those people out, he pushed the real mole closer to the center. That mole now had access to Drake's house, access to Drake's studio, access to Drake's phone, when left unattended, access to unreleased files, access to business meetings, access to personal conversations, access to OVO's internal structure. But it took one moment, to set off the chain reaction that led straight to Kendrick Lamar, a night that happened during a private studio session in Hidden Hills. Everyone inside that room remembers the exact moment it went wrong. It was late, almost dawn, when Drake fired a longtime OVO member over a disagreement about a beat direction, something small, something petty, something that should have been brushed off them. But Drake wasn't in the mood to be questioned. His ego was at peak pressure. He was exhausted, emotional, raw. Years of tension finally boiling over the man he fired that night. He didn't cry, he didn't yell, he didn't argue. He simply nodded, collected his laptop, walked out quietly, and drove straight to someone Kendrick trusted, not for revenge, but for power. Power Drake had taken from him. And that night, that moment, was the birth of the mole. He wasn't paid, he wasn't bribed, he wasn't recruited, he went voluntarily. And what he delivered wasn't gossip, it was evidence, straight up evidence, unreleased verses, voice notes, studio outtakes, time-stamped drama, screenshots, phone recordings, messages between Drake and managers, arguments between Drake and producers, confessions made during drug-fueled late nights, audio of Drake venting about Kendrick, audio of Drake admitting insecurity, audio of Drake panicking over losing relevance, audio of Drake calling out specific rappers by name, audio of Drake mocking artists who are now bigger than him, audio of Drake bragging about burying careers, audio of Drake planning PR spin, audio of Drake practicing dices, audio of Drake doubting himself, Kendrick didn't respond immediately. He didn't need to. He sat on the information, studied it, analyzed it, piece by piece, night after night. He didn't use the material for gossip. He didn't send it to blogs. He waited, and then almost a year later, the beef finally ignited publicly. Drake dropped the first subliminal. Kendrick responded casually. Then Drake fired again, louder. Kendrick didn't blink, because Kendrick had something Drake didn't: receipts. And Kendrick's team wasn't alone, because the mole wasn't just sending information, he was actively feeding it like an IV drip of poison straight into Kendrick's hands. Every time Drake made a move, the mole leaked it. Every time Drake planned a bar, the mole leaked it. Every time Drake wrote a draft, the mole leaked it. And suddenly, Kendrick knew Drake's entire playbook. This is why Kendrick sounded calm on 6/16 in LA. He wasn't guessing, he wasn't theorizing, he was confirming. You got a Judas in your temple and he closer than a friend? That wasn't a metaphor, it was a fact. The mole didn't just leak information. He explained the internal hierarchy of OVO. He explained who Drake trusted. He detailed the power struggles. He exposed the financial disputes. He described the emotional breakdowns. He shared disagreements about album direction. He revealed Drake's fear of Kendrick. Then came the real twist. The mole wasn't sending messages for Kendrick to use. He wanted Kendrick to destroy Drake, not career-wise, emotionally. Because the mole felt Drake abandoned him, betrayed him, forgot where he came from, forgot who helped build him. So when Kendrick dropped 6/16 in LA, he wasn't attacking Drake. He was letting the mole send a final message. I know everything you hide behind your walls. That line, that shook Drake to the core, because in that moment he realized someone inside his home, inside his studio, inside his circle, inside his trust was the enemy. That night, Drake reportedly shut down his mansion. Security everywhere, people questioned, phones confiscated, studio sessions cancelled, group chats deleted, employees searched. Everyone treated like a threat. Drake called emergency meetings, cancelled studio access, locked producers out, fired 2 engineers, argued with management, accused multiple people privately, threatened to sue, threatened to expose. But he couldn't find the mole because the mole wasn't hiding, he was watching. And then it happened, the first big twist. A hidden recording leaked publicly. Not a song, not a snippet, not a demo. A recording of Drake talking about Kendrick behind closed doors, saying something he never thought Kendrick would hear. It leaked anonymously. No watermark, no signature, no source. But insiders knew exactly who it came from. And this leak was only the beginning, because Kendrick still had the biggest secret, the one the mole told him personally, the one that could destroy Drake's public image forever, the one hidden behind the bars of 6/16 in LA. And Kendrick hinted at it. He hinted at it very clearly. You trusted a man who preyed on you, not for love, but for leverage. That wasn't shade. It was a coded warning. And the secret behind that line is darker than anyone imagined. So dark that Drake's own team tried to bury it. So dark that Drake threatened legal action. So dark that the mole said, if the world finds out, it's over for him. And Kendrick, he has it. And he hasn't released it yet. Because the real twist, the biggest betrayal, hasn't dropped. And when it does, it won't be a diss track. It'll be a collapse. The truth didn't stay quiet for long. After the first leak, after the anonymous recording of Drake speaking about Kendrick surfaced, after the industry froze in confusion, the air around OVO shifted. People started whispering. People inside the team started avoiding eye contact. People who used to laugh loudly in the studio now stayed silent. People who once felt protected now felt hunted. Because for the first time in Drake's career, OVO wasn't a fortress, it was a trap. And everyone inside it felt the walls closing in. Drake became paranoid, not even trying to hide it. He kept checking over his shoulder, kept rereading his old texts, kept replaying conversations, kept thinking about every person he cut off, every person he humiliated, every person he outgrew, every person he left behind. It wasn't just a leak anymore, it was a betrayal with a face he couldn't see. He stopped trusting his producers, stopped trusting his engineers, stopped trusting his managers, stopped trusting his friends, stopped trusting everyone. Even people who had been with him from the beginning started feeling blamed, watched, cornered. It got so bad that OVO meetings had metal detectors, non-disclosure agreements, and phone locking devices, the same kind used by presidents and billionaires. But what Drake didn't know? The mole wasn't scared. The mole wasn't hiding. The mole wasn't trying to escape. The mole was still inside the building, moving quietly, watching everything collapse, counting down the minutes until the next explosion. And that explosion came from Kendrick. Because Kendrick wasn't done. He didn't want to win the beef. He wanted to weaponize the truth. He wanted to hit the nerve Drake was most afraid of, the fear of being exposed internally, not by an enemy, but by someone he trusted like family. So Kendrick dropped the next hint, subtly, calmly, like a surgeon reopening a healing wound. I know who you pray with and I know who you pray against. Nobody understood the bar at first. Fans thought it was poetry, critics thought it was Kendrick being deep. Reaction channels thought it was religious imagery, but people inside the music industry, they froze because they understood exactly what Kendrick was saying. The Mole wasn't a regular OVO member. He wasn't a producer, wasn't an engineer, wasn't security, wasn't a manager, wasn't a writer. He was someone who had access to Drake's most private moments, including the moments no one in the music world ever sees. And that level of access, only one type of person has it. A person Drake trusted emotionally. A person Drake confided in. A person he vented to. A person he drank with late at night. A person who listened to his fears. A person who heard his breakdowns. A person he believed would never betray him. A person Drake called brother, someone who had nothing to gain from exposing him until Drake pushed him away. That's when the rumor spread across the industry like wildfire. The Mole wasn't a friend, he was family. When that rumor hit Twitter, it broke the algorithm. People lost their minds. No way someone in his family snitched. Kendrick got info from inside Drake's house? This is deeper than rap. OVO is crumbling from the inside out. Oh, Drake is done. You can't recover from this. But the internet still didn't know the real twist. The Mole didn't betray Drake out of jealousy. He betrayed Drake because of a secret Drake was hiding. Something so dark, so career-ending, so reputation-shattering that the Mole refused to carry the weight of it. And Kendrick hinted at that too. I know the skeletons you hide and the ghost you keep alive. This wasn't a lyric, it was a direct quote from the Mole, a message Kendrick repeated bar for bar. And Drake instantly knew. He knew exactly which secret Kendrick was talking about. He knew exactly who had access to it. He knew exactly who the Mole had to be. It wasn't someone from Toronto. It wasn't someone from the old neighborhood. It wasn't someone from the comeback season era. It wasn't someone from the Take Care era. It wasn't someone from the Nothing Was the Same era. It wasn't even someone from the Scorpion or Certified Lover Boy era. It was someone who entered the picture much later. Someone who saw Drake's darkest, most vulnerable moment. Someone who tried to help him. Someone Drake turned against. And then came the next twist. The twist that sent Drake into full panic. At 2:17 a.m., Kendrick's team dropped a mysterious post. Black background, white text, no caption, just one sentence. Your right hand knows, your left hand sins. Within seconds, the comments exploded. He talking about someone close. This is family-level betrayal. That line is about someone Drake trusts with his child. The snitch is deep inside. Kendrick knows entire personal history. This is not rap beef, this is espionage. You, someone from OVO, really switched sides. But then the real escalation happened. A new anonymous audio leak dropped online. This one wasn't Drake speaking, it was the mole. Not angry, not bitter, not emotional, calm, cold, strategic. You could hear him speaking into a phone, whispering, he's spiraling. He thinks everyone is after him. If someone doesn't stop him, he's gonna ruin everything. I can't cover for him anymore. This is getting dangerous. The internet exploded. People tried to identify the voice. Clips were slowed down, reversed, enhanced. Fans posted theories. Rappers commented. Bloggers investigated. Engineers analyzed sound waves. Then a fan slowed the audio to 0.4x speed, and the room heard something terrifying. The mole didn't just know Drake's secrets. He knew something about Drake's child, and that was the moment Kendrick dropped the nuclear bomb. He posted one cryptic line. Why protect a man who won't protect his own? The world froze, fans screamed, bloggers lost their minds. Theories exploded. What did Drake do? This is about his son? Kendrick knows something illegal. Oh, this is done to me. This is finished. Hold on. That mole knows something about Adonis? And that's when OVO panicked. Emergency meetings were called. Teams were instructed to scrub the internet. Threatening lawyers went into overdrive. Phones were wiped. Chats were deleted. People disappeared offline. But Kendrick wasn't done, because minutes later, another leak dropped. Not audio, not messages, not texts. A video. A blurry, silent video filmed from inside Drake's house. The interior unmistakable. The lighting identical. The decor matching old IG posts. The shadows matching the floor plan. And the footage showed Drake arguing with someone in the kitchen. A heated, violent argument. Hands waving, accusations flying, Drake yelling, "I'm done covering for you." The person he was yelling at, not a friend, not a producer, not a stranger. Someone with Drake's face shape, Drake's height, Drake's body language, Drake's posture. Someone who looked like him, someone who moved like him, someone with the same DNA. The footage ended suddenly, but the message clear. The mole wasn't an outsider, he was blood. And that is when the real shocking reveal hit the internet. Kendrick had exposed the identity of the snitch without ever saying his name, and Drake knew exactly who it was, his own brother. The person Drake protected for years, the person who lived off Drake's success, the person who stayed at Drake's house, the person Drake trusted during his darkest era, the person Drake defended from the media, the person Drake hid from the public eye. And the worst part, he wasn't done leaking. And what he leaked next would destroy Drake in a way no rapper, no diss track, no scandal ever had before. A secret so dark, the internet would never look at Drake the same again. The moment that blurry video leaked, the moment people realized the man arguing with Drake inside his own house looked like him, moved like him, shared that same tension, same posture, same DNA, the internet didn't just react. It detonated. No warning, no build-up, just an instant nuclear explosion that sent shockwaves through every corner of social media. Within 5 minutes, hashtags began trending worldwide. OVO betrayal, Drake, brother leak, Kendrick exposed, OVO, 6/16 decoded. The mo is blood as OVO imploding, Kendrick wins again, Drake family. Scandal. Then came the comments, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions. People weren't confused, they were terrified. Because for the first time in rap history, fans watched a superstar get attacked not by an enemy, but by someone with his same blood. Bro, this ain't beef no more. This is treason. Kendrick really exposed Drake's family? This is the darkest twist I've ever seen. Why does dude look exactly like Drake? Drake has a brother? This whole time, OVO had a mole living in his house? Kendrick wasn't beefing with a rapper. He was beefing with an empire, cracking from the inside. Then TikTok went insane. Creators made videos stitching the footage frame by frame, slow zooms, enhanced audio, filters to clarify shadows, side-by-side comparisons, old photos being matched, DNA theories, long Reddit breakdowns explaining the body language. One viral TikTok said, "The way he moves, I same. The way he stands, same. The facial structure, same. And that aggressive tone, definitely family-level tension." Even bigger creators reacted. This ain't a diss track war anymore. This is Shakespeare-level betrayal. I swear Kendrick knew exactly what he was doing. Bro leaked Drake's soul. This is worse than Pusha revealing the kid. Then, fan theories took off. Some believed Drake had a secret half-brother he never acknowledged. Some believed this was someone Drake supported financially. Some believed this was a family member he cut off. Some believed this was the person who helped hide Adonis before Pusha exposed him. The more people theorized, the deeper the rabbit hole became. And then celebrities jumped in. SZA posted one word, "Wow." Adele commented, "I knew this was going to get ugly, why? But this," The Weeknd tweeted and deleted, "Should have known." The deletion only made it go more viral. Lil Baby posted eye emojis. Yachty went quiet, unusually quiet, and fans noticed instantly. Rick Ross jumped in with a shady post. Trust nobody, especially the ones that looked like you. 50 Cent couldn't resist. "I been telling y'all, Drake's circle ain't solid." Doja Cat reposted the clip with, "What in the telenovela is this?" Even Kanye fans had a field day. Kendrick finishing the job year started. But the darkest reactions came from industry insiders. A journalist from Vibe posted, "I can confirm the leak did not come from a random source. This is personal." Another from Billboard tweeted, "People inside OVO are panicking, phones are off, meetings cancelled. Something big is happening." A producer who once worked with Drake said, "This is the kind of betrayal that ends careers, not because of the diss, but because of what the diss is covering." Then a mysterious burner account, known for accurate leaks, tweeted it, "He's not just Drake's brother. He knows everything about Drake's private life, everything." Fans lost their minds. This is bigger than rap. This is bigger than music. This is a family civil war. No wonder Kendrick sounded so calm on the track. Imagine snitching on your own brother. There's more coming, I can feel it. Rumors began spreading faster than the platforms could contain them. The brother had been living at Drake's mansion. The brother had access to personal footage. The brother had a falling out. With Drake, the brother felt cut off and replaced. The brother had been feeding info to Kendrick for months. Then someone posted a 12-minute breakdown explaining Kendrick's bars. He said, "You letting Judas eat at your table for a reason." He said he closer than your friends for a reason. He said he's sharing your sins with me for a reason, but the moment that sent chills down every viewer's spine was when fans re-listened to Kendrick's most ignored bar. "I speak to the one who shares your blood, and he bleeds from the same wound you opened." People freezed because Kendrick was taunting Drake with the mole's own words. Instagram blogs went insane. The Shade Room posted, "If this is true, Drake's inner circle is done. Hollywood unlocked. Sources say Drake is scrambling to contain the situation. Academics." The moment he realized what was happening, Stobu started screaming on stream, "Yo, no way, this is real. No way, bro. Kendrick knew about a secret brother?" He replayed the clip 40 times live. Twitter, of course, became a war zone. "Nah, this is a rap horror film. This feels illegal to watch." Kendrick destroyed him without dropping a single name. Who else could get a family member to flip? That man wasn't sabotaging for fame, he sabotaged for revenge. Then the craziest thing happened. A Toronto-based reporter posted that police presence was spotted outside Drake's mansion due to a domestic dispute. Nobody knew if it was related. Nobody knew if it was real, but the rumor alone made the internet combust a second time. People started asking the real questions. Is Drake safe? Is the mole still in the house? Did Drake confront him? Did a fight break out? Is this why the footage leaked? Is Kendrick about to drop something worse? Because Kendrick didn't tweet, didn't react, didn't brag, didn't even acknowledge the chaos. He stayed silent, which made it worse, because this wasn't over. This was beginning, and fans could feel it. One comment said it best. Kendrick didn't just expose OVO, he unleashed a secret the family fought years to hide. Another, if this is the reaction now, imagine the next leak. The internet wasn't breathing normally anymore. It was panicking, refreshing, speculating, decoding every lyric, replaying every clip, scrubbing old Drake interviews, analyzing body language, wondering what truth was buried in that mansion, because the family mole didn't just leak info, he leaked a war. And the final shock, a mysterious burner account, one that leaked the first video posted again. 3 words, no context, no explanation, just next one worse. The moment that burner account posted next one worse, the entire internet felt something shift, something dark, heavy, dangerous, like the air before a thunderstorm, the type of silence that doesn't calm you, it warns you, because people realized something terrifying. The first leak wasn't meant to destroy Drake, it was meant to prepare everyone, like a warm-up, a warning shot, a whisper before the scream. The second leak, that one was going to break the world open. Inside Drake's mansion, everything was collapsing. Drake's phone wouldn't stop vibrating. Calls from managers, lawyers, friends, producers, people begging him to respond, begging him to deny, begging him to issue a statement, but Drake couldn't speak, couldn't think, couldn't breathe because that shaky footage, that shadowy figure in his kitchen, wasn't a rumor anymore. He recognized the posture, the jawline, the shoulder tension, the voice under the static. He recognized him, the person he spent years protecting, the person he sheltered, the person he kept out of the public eye to avoid scrutiny, the person he defended during their darkest moments, the person he had forgiven more times than he could count. But now that person was the one feeding his greatest rival, his own brother. Not by label, not by crew, by blood, and Kendrick knew it. Not just because the mole told him, but because Kendrick had proof. Proof Drake never thought would see the light of day. Proof that could tear his legacy apart. Proof that could turn fans against him. Proof that could make the world question who he really was behind the hits, behind the charisma, behind the smile. Because the next leak wasn't about Drake's music, it was about Drake's morals, and the internet wasn't ready. Inside OVO, panic became chaos. Producers fought, assistants packed, security argued, phones were wiped, hard drives removed, managers screaming about NDAs, everyone terrified. The next leak would include them, but the mole, he was calm because he had already escaped, already disappeared, already vanished before anyone noticed. He wasn't hiding in Drake's house anymore. He was watching from somewhere safe, somewhere far, somewhere Kendrick's team already knew about. And that's when the second video dropped. No warning, no countdown, no trailer, just a 57-second clip uploaded by the same burner account. But this time the caption wasn't 3 words, it was one: truth. The video opens in a dim room, the same room from the previous leak. Drake sits at a table, head down, hands covering his face. He looks exhausted, broken, defeated. Then a voice enters from off-camera, deep, familiar, calm. "You need to tell them the truth before I do." Drake looks up sharply. "Don't start this again." The voice doesn't raise, doesn't get angry, just replies, "You promised." Drake stands up fast. "I don't owe you anything." The voice laughs. A cold, humorless, wounded laugh. "You owe me your whole career." Fans paused the video, analyzing the shadow. It matched the figure from the kitchen, matched the mole, matched the brother. But the next moment is what made the entire world stop. The voice said, "If you hadn't thrown me under the bus that night, none of this would have happened. We both know what really went down. We both know who was supposed to take the fall." Drake's shoulders stiffen. "Drop it." But the voice doesn't drop it. Tell them how you used me. Tell them how you let me take the blame. Tell them how you lied to everyone to save your name." Drake's voice breaks. "You shouldn't have been there. I told you not to come." The voice answers, "You invited me." When fans heard that line, the internet shook. And then comes the line that flips everything. "You told the world I disappeared. You told them I abandoned you, but you never told them why." Drake steps closer to the camera, almost close enough to make out tears. "It was an accident. You know that." But the brother's voice cuts through him. "That wasn't an accident. You ruined my life, and then you ruined my name, and then you pretended to save me." Fans began screaming in comments. What did Drake do? What accident? Who took the blame? Bro, what is happening, Horde? This is deeper than blood. Oh, this is dark. But the video wasn't done. Drake whispers, "If you leak that, I'm done." And the brother delivers the line that breaks the internet in half. "No, if I leak that, the world finally learns who you really are." The video cuts off abruptly. 57 seconds, no context, no explanation, just enough to destroy Drake's public image. Just enough to confirm the mole wasn't after fame, he was after justice, and just enough to spark a global panic. What did Drake do to his own brother? Theories went feral. He took credit for something the brother did. He blamed his brother for a legal situation. He used his brother as a shield. He betrayed him to protect his own image. He let his brother take a fall that should have been his. Oh God, this is some cover-up level drama. Kendrick has the full receipts. This is why Kendrick stayed calm. This is why the mole flipped. And then one final leak appeared, not from Kendrick, not from the mole, not even from a burner account, from the brother himself, a 6-word message that turned the entire rap world into a thriller. "You all deserve the real story." And below it, a timestamp, 6:16 again, But this time there was an added word, tomorrow, meaning the biggest leak, the real secret. The truth Drake fought years to bury, the truth that broke the family, the truth Kendrick has been hinting at, drops in 24 hours, and the world can't look away. Because the next leak won't be a lyric or a diss or a subliminal or a shadowy video. It will be the truth Drake never wanted anyone to hear. And once it drops, there may be no coming back. If you're still here after that final moment, after hearing Drake's brother say, "You all deserve the real story," after seeing the timestamp 6:16 appear again like a warning from inside the house, after watching the family betrayal unfold inch by inch, then you already know we are not at the end of this story. We're standing at the edge of something darker. Something no diss track can contain, something no PR team can bury, something even Drake himself can't outrun. Because the next leak, the one scheduled for tomorrow, that isn't just going to expose a feud. It's going to expose a truth that the world has never heard. The truth Drake spent years protecting, the truth that Kendrick has been hinting at, the truth that broke the family before OVO even existed. And when that truth drops, the entire industry will have to pick a side. There won't be any middle ground left. So now I need you, every single one of you watching, to scroll straight to the comments and drop your theory right now. What is the real story the brother is talking about? What accident happened? What blame did Drake shift? What secret was buried for so many years? And why did Kendrick wait until now to reveal it? Was this all planned from the beginning? Did Kendrick have the mole under him from day one? Was Drake living with a traitor the entire time without knowing it? Tell me everything you're thinking. I want to see your wild theories, your predictions, your conspiracies, your breakdowns, your timelines, your evidence, your guesses. If you're watching this on your phone, hit like right now. Not for me, but to push this story deeper into the algorithm so more eyes see what's actually going on before tomorrow's leak changes everything. And if this is somehow your first time watching one of these updates, you need to hit subscribe and turn on all notifications. Not some, not personalized, all of them. Because the second that new footage drops, whether it's the brother speaking, Kendrick responding, Drake breaking silence, or the truth hitting the internet like a bomb, I'm uploading the next chapter immediately. No waiting, no pausing, no filters, no watered down version. You're going to get it exactly how it comes in, raw, shocking, and unedited. So comment your theories, like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell, because the final leak hasn't dropped, and when it does, Drake's entire legacy might never look the same again. Stay alert, stay watching. Tomorrow changes everything.